Hello! Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Cass and I'm so excited to be bringing you my end of year tag. Now this tag has been on BookTube for quite some time and I think the first time I ever did it was last year, and I just love doing tags that are always so fun and they're short enough that y'all can also answer it in the comments below. So feel free to also share all your responses down in the comments. I'm so curious to see what your kind of plans are for the last couple months of the year and going into 2024, which honestly is insane. I really love making end of year book content. So without further ado, I'm just gonna hop straight into the tag. The first question is, are there any books that you started this year that you still need to finish? Technically, there's quite a lot. Maybe not like a lot, but I think there's like 4 books that I'm in the middle of. But we're gonna start by talking about The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I had the first 4 books on my 2023 TBR, which is insanity considering they're all over 1,000 pages. So the audacity of me to kind of assume that past me was really gonna work towards reading the series throughout the entire year. Kind of a bold choice. I made it about one part into The Way of Kings, maybe about like 150 pages, I want to say, and I haven't picked it up in months. I started reading it, I think, in the middle of summer, and then I just never touched it again. I've been dying to read The Stormlight Archives with Brandon Sanderson, and I still want to. I just have to realize that I'm not going to be able to finish the entire Stormlight series of all the published works like by the end of the year. That's absolutely insane. But it would be really lovely to be able to finish The Way of Kings, which is book 1. Honestly, I might have to reread part 1 though, because I really don't remember what goes down. I have a vague inkling of what I remember, but I don't know if that's enough to really throw me back into the story. The hope for finishing this book this year is kind of low, but I still want to put that energy out there. A couple other books that I'm kind of in the middle of that I haven't decided if I'm going to DNF or continue is A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. I'm halfway through it and I don't really like it so far, but the plot started picking up, so I think I might enjoy the second half of the book, but honestly, there's no telling. It might get the unhaul if I don't like it, and I might DNF it. I have not quite decided. Another book that I'm in the middle of is Aragon by Christopher Paolini. I almost said Panini. Christopher Paolini. And I read Aragon last year, and I know exactly where I'm at. I took my bookmark out, I think, but I still know exactly where I'm at in the book. And I wanted to finish this reread and then continue the series, but honestly, that might be a 2024 goal. How many times am I gonna put Aragon on my TBR before I actually read it? It's honestly getting kind of ridiculous at this point. However, when I picked up Aragon, it was after I picked up Fourth Wing, because I was like, I need more dragons, and it just wasn't the same as Fourth Wing. So I didn't manage to actually finish the reread, but I am in the middle of it. And then the last one that I'm in the middle of is The Wager, which is actually right behind me here. It's by David Graham, but honestly, I think that might get DNF'd and unhauled. So, not the best book for me in terms of the writing style. I should have just cracked open the book and read the first page before buying it, because it was kind of expensive because it's a signed copy. But, you know, lesson learned. Not really. Let's be honest. Lesson was not learned. Those are the couple of books that I do want to finish before the end of the year, but we'll see if they happen. But Way of Kings is kind of like top priority. Priority number 1. The next question is, do you have an autonomo book to transition into the new year? And I don't really have an autonomo book because it's already fall, so I've been reading a lot more like gothic books. Like I'm reading the Carrie Maniscalco series, a little bit of pirate books. I could say, I suppose, Iron Flame. By the time you're watching this, it is actually already out, which is so exciting. But when I'm filming this, it has not yet been released. Honestly, I think I've already kind of transitioned into the fall, but the first book that kind of came to mind when I was looking at this prompt was The Wise One's Fear, because I'm still holding out some sliver of hope that I might pick this up and finish it by the end of the year. And I don't know why. Honestly, bit delulu up here, okay? I understand that, but I'm still holding out hope. If you don't know the whole thing with The Wise One's Fear, last year it took me 10 months to finish this book. And it's a chunky book. It's like 700 pages or something. And I reread The Name of the Wind at the beginning of the year with the hopes of immediately reading The Wise One's Fear right after it. And then that never happened. And it's been an entire year. So maybe it's just destiny to never finish the book in a reasonable time period, or at least start it in a reasonable time period either. That, I guess, are the couple of books that I could say: Iron Flame and The Wise One's Fear. Iron Flame is definitely happening. The Wise One's Fear, honestly, don't get your hopes up. Not that you were getting your hopes up to begin with, but just don't do it at all. You know? You feel me? Don't do it. The third question is, are there any releases that you're still waiting on? And like I said at the time of recording, yes, there is. Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, obviously the second book in the Fourth Wing series. Very, very excited for that one. Also, Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood comes out on the same day as Iron Flame, and I'm also so excited for that. It's a little romance, and I've decided that I am in fact an Ali Hazelwood girly. Honestly, sometimes I just love a cute, fun romance, and the fact that it follows chess players, I'm so excited. I think that will be, I hope it is well executed because I have been way too excited, and the cover is so stunning. Then we also have Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree, which is the prequel to Legends and Lattes. Cozy fantasy in the winter. Yes, please. I will be picking that up either late November or early December. I think it's going to be such a fun time. And then also I'm excited for Ruthless Vow, which is the second book in the Divine Rival series. I have yet to read Divine Rival, but I read A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross, really enjoyed it. And from what I've heard, people like Divine Rivals more than A River Enchanted series. So I feel like I'll also enjoy them either equally or more. But I am excited for the second book because that means I don't have to wait on whatever cliffhanger that people keep talking about, and it gives me an excuse to finally pick up another Rebecca Ross book. Question 4 is, what are 3 books that you want to pick up by the end of the year? Obviously, I've talked about all the new releases I'm really excited about, and I could just name those, but those I definitely will be picking up because I'm just too excited to not, and I don't want to repeat the books that I've already said. So we're gonna circle back. Talking about Rebecca Ross, I do want to pick up A Fire Endless by her. I read A River Enchanted end of September and absolutely adored it, and have been meaning to pick up the sequel to just finish the series, and yet a month has passed and I did not even crack open that book. So I do want to finish A Fire Endless just to complete the trilogy, see what happens, see how things turn out for our characters. I also want to read A Frugal Wizard's Guide for Surviving Medieval England by Brandon Sanderson. I think this sounds like such a fun book. We have a time traveler who I guess is an accidental time traveler. He winds up in medieval England with no clue why or how he got there, and he's being chased by people from his own time. It just sounds so fun and fast-paced, and I am obsessed with Brandon Sanderson, so I will pick up almost anything by him, including books that don't feel like his type of book. This feels very odd for a Brandon Sanderson book, but I think it'll be a lot of fun. And I did kind of forget to mention this earlier with books that I'm in the middle of and still want to finish reading, and that's A Slow Regard of Silent Things by Patrick Rothfuss. I started reading this quite some time ago, and I was listening to the audiobook and I got bored. And I think I was doing a road trip and I needed something to keep me awake, but I was so bored while reading it and I was falling asleep, so I had to switch to music or switch to a different audiobook. However, I think picking this up where I read it myself will be much better. Not much really happens in this book in terms of the plot. We just kind of get to know Ari a little bit more from The Name of the Wind, and she's such a unique, quirky little character, and we get to see kind of where she lives, how she thinks, that sort of thing. So I would really love to finish that book as well. The next question is there a book that you think could possibly shock you and become your favorite book of the year? Honestly, no, but if I had to choose one, possibly The Way of Kings. I don't think that that's going to take a top spot though, because I have read so many phenomenal books this year, and I don't think another Brandon Sanderson is going to make my list, because let me tell you, he already has a couple spots on my top books. I thought about possibly Iron Flame, but again, I don't think that's going to top Fourth Wing for me. So I'll just be really curious to see if anything does end up shocking me, but I think I already have my top 5 books pretty set in stone. I mean, never say never. I could read something that absolutely blows me out of the water, but my top 5 books are definitely all over the place and not what I was expecting at all, but I went through and made the list the other day and I was like, wow. So I don't think any books are going to take that top spot. However, never say never, and possibly The Way of Kings in terms of my future reading plans, but again, pretty unlikely. And the last question is, have you started making any reading plans for 2024? I have vague plans, and most of them include new releases because there are so many releases that I'm pretty excited about coming up in the new year. I do want to read the Stormlight Archives, maybe just the first 2 or maybe just the second one. I might have to take this series slow. I don't know. The 5th book does come out next year, so who knows? Aragon. I want to read Aragon so bad and just get it off my TBR because it has been on there way too long. And I also want to reach for more sci-fi books, and I want to figure out more like adult sci-fi books that I might enjoy. But as for like reading plans, it's mostly just like finishing books that I wanted to finish this year. Not the most fun reading plans, but I do kind of have some already set out. I will be making a 2024 TBR, which I really enjoyed doing last year when I put 35 books on there, and so many of them were like over 500 pages. Honestly, I now know to set my expectations way lower before I can actually achieve and complete my TBR, because why was I putting 35 books on there? Literally why? I don't understand. But that will be an entire separate video that will be coming out probably in December. So that is the end of year tag. I really hope that you enjoyed hearing my thoughts. I know this was a pretty quick video, but it's always fun to kind of plan for the end of the year. I'm not going to complete my 2023 TBR, unfortunately. It was, like I said, way too ambitious. But these are my plans and goals. I'd love to hear y'all's. Please answer the tag down below. You don't have to answer all the questions, but if you just want to answer a few, I would really love to hear your answers. And as always, I really appreciate y'all watching, and I do hope to see you in the next one. Toodles!